4:30?
Yeah, it is.
I don't see anything on my LinkedIn though.
You think we should restart?
Did you click on that?
Yeah, I did. It says end stream.
No, don't end this. Yeah.
It's come?
Yeah, I'm going to see people watching.
Uh-huh. So, hi guys, whoever is watching, we are just testing it because last time it did not work. So we will start this sharp at 4:30. Are you also getting it on YouTube?
I'm checking that. Yeah. It's coming on YouTube.
I can see that Deepak is logged in.
I can't see anything there because I don't have the control. Yeah. You want me to go live on this thing? I just go check it for this video.
No, I am live on restream.
Okay, I can't go live because you're already.
Yeah, yeah. No, but because Deepak came, okay, anyway.
Okay, I can't see anything there.
You can't see LinkedIn. Can you see LinkedIn? Is it on live on LinkedIn? All right. So we start in 2 minutes. Yeah, but the problem is even this is getting recorded when we actually record. Okay. No, we are just going to start at 4:30 because we just want to check whether it's working. Because last time for some reason it didn't work.
Yes. There is a big backlash against WhatsApp.
Shut the door. Okay. Right. Okay. It's 4:30, so might as well start it off. Hi, like I said last time when we had this session about a month ago that we'll be back. Well, we are. So why are we doing this? Well, the reason is that everybody is on social media, so I was feeling a little left out. So I said that maybe I should also do some videos for YouTube and LinkedIn. More seriously, I have been in many client meetings as part of RainMan. And when I go to those meetings, and they are usually with marketing people, CMO, brand managers, media people, research, feel that a lot of them don't have the basics of advanced analytics, which and so therefore in many a case, I mean in the last 10, 12 years, I think we must have given the basic chat on how it is useful to many companies. So as a part of some knowledge sharing with marketing, as I'm myself a marketer about 12 years ago, and actually, before 12 years ago, I did not know much of advanced analytics. It's only after I kind of joined with my partners and started RainMan that we have been practicing it. So, therefore, I felt that it would be a good idea to put out this video. People can watch it and appreciate and see and if they see the need for advanced analytics, then they can go around setting it up. Because I certainly feel that it is very useful. It is as useful as much of research that you see today, and much of some other kinds of research are merely panels. So this enables people to actually delve into the huge data assets that their company has on the marketing side, and that's really useful to get insights and actually can contribute a lot to business. Okay, so today we are going to be discussing some use cases of how advanced analytics can help marketing become better. Okay, so that's really the thing. I'm going to take you through about three use cases. Okay, starting and then we will take questions at the end if anyone has questions. So so let me just start this PPT. Divya, is the PPT full? Is it full screen? Okay. So let me know when it is full screen. It's come. Okay. So essentially, what we are saying is how advanced analytics helps marketers succeed or marketing succeed, right? So I'm just trying to confirm again. It's come on. So this technology seems to take a little time, and we are the second time we are working with it. So there seems to be a bit of a lag. So anyway, now that it is working, let me take you through some of the use cases. Okay, the first one is what I'm calling the problem of attribution. The problem of attribution, and let me tell you a story of how this is a problem for marketers. When I used to be in marketing 10, 12 years ago, we used to run a big campaign, obviously not only with one media, with number of different media, some stuff happening in the showrooms, some stuff happening out of home. And we probably will run it during a season, during the festival season and so on. So when the results come, even if you have done extremely well vis-a-vis the last year, let's say that you have grown 15 or 20%, my boss would turn around and say, how can you, because I was the head of marketing, he would turn around and say, how can you attribute this whole growth to marketing? It could very easily be because the season has been extremely good. Every brand sold more. Okay, so do you have an answer for that kind of a question? Which this to give an answer to this, you have to be able to separate out the impact of the natural growth due to the festival and due to your advertising campaign or your marketing, whatever marketing inputs that you have. So this really is the problem of attribution, which actually dogs marketers. They have no idea how to do this. Okay, so let me just show you what that actually means. Okay, so let's say that I have only a TV campaign as opposed to the earlier period. Then I do a campaign for TV and I see that there is a certain growth. Maybe I can attribute the growth to TV advertising. But the problem is that many other things are also happening at the same time, and even I, as a marketer, would like some 360 degrees integrated marketing, all of those things to synergy to help my brand. So what do I do? So obviously I'm running many more things. I probably during the period I could also be running in certain parts of the country a promotion, let's say 50% off kind of sale. So yeah, some amount of sale is picked up not only by TV but by the promotion as well. And then in today's world, digital is almost always on. Okay, so you have digital, which is in so many different avatars now. You can be on Facebook, YouTube, Google, all of those things, right? So they are also running concurrently. So now, can I say that it is only because of TV? And to make matters worse, I could be on other media like print at the same time. I could be doing a sponsorship. Maybe IPL was 2 months before this period, and I could have sponsored a part of IPL. What was the effect of that? Could I have separated out that effect? And then if I'm a brand, typically a brand which is into white goods, fashion products or cars, then the introduction of a new product is extremely important and can make a huge difference to my thing. So I need to separate out the impact of new products, right? Then it is also possible that my distribution is increased. I might have opened new shops. If I open more shops, there is a likelihood that more people will have access to it, and therefore the sales will go up, right? So therefore, I have many different things. Like for example, like I told you, festival could be one reason. Like for jewelry, for instance, festival Diwali to December, which is the festival period which encompasses Diwali and goes all the way up to wedding, could give you a lot of sale. Okay, in ice creams, for example, maybe it's the summer. In soft drinks, it's the summer. So you need to remove the impact of seasonality as well. So now you understand what the problem is of attribution. And if you just have look at the data and only look at each one of them at a time, it is almost impossible to say whether you actually got a growth because of any one of these. Okay, so that is why you require advanced analytics in this particular use case, right? So when we are talking about that, what are we talking about? I mean, there are mathematical techniques like regression, and then there are machine learning techniques. And essentially, what these can do is they can separate out or take out the impact of input on sales by looking at the time series data. They might be looking at the last 3 years of data at a monthly or weekly level and so on, and they will then figure out a way. Okay, and that's essentially by using this process where there is a we then get an estimate of the impact. Okay, so that is the key thing. Once we can also validate it, and I will show you how the validation actually happens. But once you validate these impact factors in technical language called coefficients or betas, then we know what is the impact of each one of these. What was the impact of TV? What was the impact of distribution, promotions, and so on. Okay, and that is has tremendous strategic value because without that, the marketer is wasting a huge amount of money because they are putting money behind things that may not be working. Time and again, I have seen that when I work on projects with clients, I find that there is a huge amount of money that has gone into channels simply because they were doing it earlier, and it worked to start with maybe 10 years ago. But today, in today's market, it is not working, but they continue to run the same promotions or the same kind of advertising because they are basically building on the past without actually trying to find out whether in today's world it is having an impact or is it having sufficient impact or not. Okay, so let us see what is it that it can do for me. What it can do is once I have these factors, I will be able to figure out for my total sales what is the impact of distribution. In other words, if I increase the number of stores, how much did it contribute to me in terms of percentage? What did trade promo do or TV do? These are in percentage terms. And I can also bring in the competition to say that when competition is having a huge TV campaign, how much sales does it take away from me? So I will not go into the details of advanced modeling, but as marketers, you should understand that this is possible to do. It is possible to actually differentiate the impact of each one of these, okay, given certain caveats, which will be given to you over time, and then this becomes very useful because I then know that 8% of my sale was driven by TV, and I already know how much I spent on TV, which means I can work out what is my sale or indeed what is my profit for every rupee of I spent on TV, right? So this can be extremely interesting information to look at. But how do I know this estimate is correct? So what we do is we go back into the past and we take this impact factors of coefficients, as I call them. Take the coefficients, and if I multiply them with the inputs, the number of GRPs in each month, for example, it will produce an X number of sales. I do it for each of the different inputs, including environmental factors and so on. Okay, so once I do that, I will get a expected sale that the model is predicting. Then I overlay that with actual sales that happen because this is in the past. Okay, and there is not much of a difference between actual and predicted lines In this case, the blue and the red line, and there is a number there, 5.5, which is called the MAPE, which is nothing but mean absolute percentage error. Absolute in the sense that it could be the error could be on the higher side or the lower side. Okay, on all of it is counted, and the error is only 5.5%, which means that I should be, if you give me inputs, I should be able to predict future sales with a error of about 5.5%. That's what it really means, right? So it is from not knowing uh, uh, why I got the sale that I got, I can then turn around and tell my boss, if I was in 2008 or 2007, and tell him that this technique is telling me that the contribution of TV is so much, and this is how I have validated it. So this is a very important and interesting thing to do. Okay, and then we go to the next step in the process, and like I said, I can actually, given the amount of sale that I got from that particular input, and if I divide it with the cost of that input, I'll get what I'm calling a return on marketing investment, or ROMI. You keep hearing this thing, ROMI, over time. So let's say that sales from TV campaign were 350 million. The cost of TV was 100 million. So the return on marketing investment is 3.5. In other words, for every rupee spent on TV, I got 3.5 rupees in terms of sales. Very simple concept, and I can use this concept, and I can do it for every single input that I have. Let's just take media and promotions for the time being, and I'm not getting involved in things like pricing and distribution and so on. But if you look at it, I can actually compute it. How much is it for print? Because I know what it is contributed, or what is the estimated contribution, and then what its cost was. Okay, so therefore, you see that there are some inputs like out of home OOH, which had a return of only 0.75, which means I'm actually making a loss. For every rupee spent on outdoor, I'm only getting 75 paisa in return. Whereas the digital channels, Facebook and Google, are giving me between 6 and 12 rupees for every rupee spent. Okay, so then I know that there is some action that I can take from there, and that action is what we call optimization. So I can set some business constraints, and then I can start moving monies around in such a way that without a change in budget, I can actually get an increase in sales. Okay, so that's that's about as simple as I can get with it. But in the next session, I will explain how I can take the same kind of concept and use it for what I'm calling portfolio optimization and market prioritization. Okay, so as you know, many brands have a portfolio of brands. For example, Coca-Cola will have Diet Coke, it will have Coke Zero, it will have Classic Coke. Similarly, almost every brand that you can talk up, if you take a soap like Liril, it will have Liril Lemon, and it will have some other scent and so on and so forth, and it will have different shapes. It may even have a different composition, like it appears like soap, a transparent soap versus a standard soap. So there is always, usually now, marketers have a portfolio to work with. Okay, now how do I know how much money to spend behind each one of these? That's question number one. How do I know that I'm spending the right amount of money and I'm getting the most bang for the buck? The second thing is I'm working in different markets. Like let's take India or Asia for that matter. So how much, if I'm working for Nokia, uh, uh, how much priority should I give Singapore versus Vietnam versus Thailand? Okay, so that depends on the kind of sensitivity they have to add marketing activities, and which marketing activities are working in these specific places for my brand. So these are two interlinked concepts that we can actually use using advanced analytics, and it has a huge impact again on making marketing spend much more efficient. Okay, let's take a look at, like I was telling you, why do we need to, and what are the things that we need to consider when we are talking about this different portfolio brands. While I may have, for Coca-Cola, the mother brand, I may be doing TV digital promotions out of home, or no, OTT platform. Okay, on Coke Zero I might be just doing TV. For Diet Coke I could be doing some other stuff. Now the thing is, because they have the same brand name or they are associated brands, Coca-Cola, the mother brand, could be having an effect on the others, and vice versa. So when in other words, for example, if I advertise Coke Zero, maybe Coke Zero won't sell because they don't like the taste or whatever, but because of the saliency built in for Coke the brand, there could be more people kind of moving towards Coke. So therefore, these effects between brands and sub brands are called halo effects, and so therefore that those are some things that one needs to take into account. Okay, so the return on investment for Coke Zero, for instance, is not only the return for Coke Zero sales. Let's say that 200 sales happen for 100, 200 million happen for 100 million Coke Zero spend, but it also gave me, let's say, another 100 of Coca-Cola sales additionally. That's what the model told me. So in which case, the return from Coke Zero is not 2, which is 200 by 100, but instead it is 3 because the sales on Coca-Cola, the mother brand, is also adding to my overall sales. And the input is Coke Zero advertising. So therefore, these halo effects on one or the other have to be taken into account when you are looking at doing a portfolio optimization. So therefore, there will be some brands, some sub brands which are givers, okay, and some sub brands which are takers. So we need to then give more money to the givers, probably less to the takers, so that the overall return is much higher. Okay. Now let's add one level complexity on this thing. Each of these are not working in one market, but they are working in markets 1 to n, right? So there could be Coca-Cola could be in all markets, Coke Zero could be in 3 markets, Diet Coke could be in probably only in metro cities, and so on. Okay, so I then have to take that into account. So what we then do is we can actually build models, which we call the stacked models, okay, or pooled models, which actually build not a single model like I showed you in the first round, but a model which takes into account all these interrelationships, okay, between sub brands and also the impact of how what the sensitivity of these markets is to each of the marketing inputs that you have seen. So I actually get an ROI for Coca-Cola, for TV, for market one, for market two, market three, and so on. So therefore, I am getting different ROIs at different state levels. So therefore, given certain business constraints, of course, the marketer will not want to go entirely by statistics, but he will have some strategic considerations also. For example, if the competition is getting strong in a particular market, I might want to say that, okay, let me take him on. So I will spend double the money, even though the return on investment from that market is poor. So I can take that as a business constraint and still do the optimization. What is the point of this optimization? What I'm doing is I'm using exactly the same budget, but putting it in the right places in terms of brands, channels, and markets, such that there is a growth in my overall sale. By doing such things, we have sometimes seen the growth in sales of brands as much as 15 to 20%. So therefore, if you are sitting on a 1,000 crore brand, you are talking about 200 crore increase in a particular year. Okay, and so if you are missing this for whatever reason, because you don't have the capability or you didn't think it was important, I think you're leaving a lot of money on the table. So, and I see that this kind of modeling is being practiced much more in the Western markets. It's not practiced as well or as systematically for sure in the Indian markets or in the Asian markets, and which is one of the things that I think requires correction. And this is my doing a little bit to tell the young marketers that they should start looking at advanced analytics seriously. It is just not the buzz. I mean, I know analytics is about dashboards and dashboards are good, but one needs to go beyond dashboards into seeing how you can build good predictive models. And predictive model building is not only about statisticians. I think without marketers, statisticians can build you a great statistical model, but it will, at the end of the day, not really make sense. Okay, so because a lot of parameters may be right in the model, but from a pure common sense and logic perspective, or from the knowledge that the marketer has, it cannot be true. So, in other words, what I'm saying is this optimization solutions can be many, okay, but we need to pick the right one. Just like in creative, we kind of pick the winner, okay. The agency might come and give you 5 creatives, but your responsibility to pick the winner. Similarly, it's your responsibility, I think, to pick the right mix, okay, to get the maximum bang for the buck for your company. Okay. Now let me go to the third use case, which is the last one for today. Okay, where we can use advanced analytics to guide pricing and many a time promotional calls. Okay, all the time, in fact. So let me first start with pricing. See, in pricing, what happens is, and you typically see this, especially in inflationary markets where we now live, especially in Asia, and even the US has now become an inflationary market. There is a increase in the cost of inputs, and therefore we need to increase prices for the brands that we put out, okay, at an SKU level. So I used to do this when I was in marketing, and I used to decide based on my team's perception of the people in the market, the salespeople, maybe go to a few franchisees and shopkeepers, try to get a feel, maybe go talk to a few consumers. But at the end of the day, we would take a gut feel on which products or SKUs we feel are more price sensitive and less price sensitive. Okay, that's the old method of doing it. Instead, now I can actually draw a sensitivity curve, right? What I can do is we I can, because there is constant change that is happening in price over time. Okay, I know that every time there is an increase in price, I can see that the sales tends to drop, okay, in terms of volume. And I can see that when I reduce price, this could be in the case of promotions, I can see that there is an increase in sales. Okay, so therefore I know that the relationship looks something like this, what has been displayed on the screen, right? So if there is a reduction in price, you can see that there is a growth, and when there is an increase in price, I can see that the sales have fallen. Okay, you can see. So now, if this is the relationship, I can use this relationship to do the pricing, but it might not be particularly useful for me unless I put the competition also into play. And actually I can draw lines like this for the competition, because whatever price changes the competition makes is very important for you. Otherwise, brand switches would happen. So therefore, while this is important, what is more important for me to actually do the SKU level price optimization is that I take all the important SKUs and I actually draw these sensitivity lines for those more for those SKUs. Okay, so here I've taken an example from Coke, where you can see the green line, which is a 1.5 liter PET, has the highest level of price sensitivity. uh, Probably for a very good reason, because institutions use the PET bottles, and they don't like their margins to get impacted, and they can't change price all the time. So they start buying less of your brand if the price goes up. So that is what you see, and you can see that the 190 ml RGB, which is I think a code for a can, is the least sensitive. Even if I increase price by like 10%, I can see that the reduction in sales is less than 2%. Okay, so what does this mean? This means that when I actually take my price increase, because there was an input and I had to take a price increase, I had no choice of about approximately 5% on an average. In the case of Coke, I will take the least increase in PET bottles, okay, in volume terms, of course, and the most on cans. And then, of course, there are other intricacies that come in. As you know, everything will have a deeper level. For example, can it be a round number? Should it be around a round number? Is a customer used to a round number? So, while keeping all of those things into account, still we can actually work out which ones I need to increase the price the most and the least, and therefore I am getting a much better sales despite taking the price increase. So had I gone only with the overall line, I might have seen when I increased price by 10%, I would have seen a decline by 10%, but by taking a better mix, the decline could be reduced to maybe 5%. Now that's a huge amount of money to in terms of sales, right, and profitability. So those are the kinds of things that advanced analytics can do, right? And then the nowadays with digital being there, uh, there are so many promotions which are running all the time. There could be buy to get one free, up to 50% free gift. They might all mean the same, and the cost to the to the marketer could be somewhat similar, but the language which is used and the attraction of some of these could be different, right? So therefore we need to actually model these at that level that we are talking about and see what is the return from each one of these. Okay, so but of course we have the usual things that we need to take care of. We need to take care of environmental conditions. We need to take care of our own advertising campaigns. We need to take care of competitive activity. For example, if I did one buy two get one free, it may not work so well because competition at the same time did buy three get one, buy one get one free. So they did 50% better than you in terms of competition. So your buy two get one free did not work well in the same period in that window. But I can't turn around and say buy two get one free did not work. I can only say that it did not work because there was another promotion going on. Had there been no competitive promotion, how would it have compared with up to 50% off? That's the kind of thing that I need to see, which means that I have to remove all the impurities which are there to be able to judge this thing, and in this case, the effect on sales, right? So that's really what we are talking about in terms of promotions. So and what happens in this is I've seen many a time that there are big promotions which are run by brands which over a period of time, especially free gifts, they get kind of don't reach the customer many a time, and they are not working. But marketers continue to put money into those promotions, reducing the overall impact of their marketing budget. So while there is a lot of effort involved when it comes to marketing analytics, you have to get the data together. You need to make sure that the data is right. Then you need to learn some statistical modeling or hire some statistics. But if you look at Romi on analytics, I would think that it's extremely high. If some companies have got 100 or 200 crores for spending 25 or 50 lakhs on analytical resources, that's probably the highest ROI the marketing team will ever get. Okay, so that's the last use case that I have for now. We will be coming back with more over time. But if you are interested in finding out what we do, go to www.therainman.in, and if you have any questions, also you can post them. And since this is a live session, if you have any questions, you can put it on the chat window. In I'm sure I've been extremely clear in what I'm saying. So, but if any questions occur to you even later, okay, please do drop in a line at RainMan, and we will try and answer that. Thanks, and have a good evening. Bye bye. In stream.